Talk to me, man. Like, it seems like you're all over the world, man. You're traveling everywhere. You're doing. Is this a conscious effort? Are you trying to stay this, or is it just working out this way?
Man, it's kind of working out this way. You know, I wanted to take the summer off after that last fight with Anthony Pettis, taking that shot. It's like, man, I want to make sure I'm healed up before I step back out there, especially mentally for my brain, and making sure that's healed up before I step back out. So yeah, over the summer, I'm kind of like going all over the place. Chicago, Vegas, Canada, now in Abu Dhabi. I'm enjoying life, man.
That's awesome. Well, give us the update. I know you said that, hey, one little time, we'll let the body heal, you know, mentally. Where are you at? I mean, how are you feeling?
To be honest with you, I'm 100%. I am ready to step back out there and do it again. At this point, just trying to find an opponent. I know me and RDA are coming off of a loss. I know that was kind of thrown out there. Hopefully that will work. So it's kind of up in the air. Not really sure who's next, but I would love for it to happen at Madison Square Garden. That's kind of like my home away from home. Would love to compete there again and always have a good time at MSG. So,
you know, you talked about the fight with Anthony. Of course, he had a big fight, you know, a couple weeks back. I wonder, I mean, did that stir any feelings up, like watching that fight? What was going through your head?
You know what? For me, I admire that guy. Like, yeah, I beat him, 2 years ago at MSG, but look where he is now, man. That gives me confidence that, hey, even though I lost my last 2 fights, I got knocked out my last fight, I can still work my way back up. You know, I can still get up there. And, you know, I congratulated him after his last fight. That just kind of put a smile on my face. You know, I could definitely be in there in my next 2 fights, you know?
No question about it. You know, it's funny, you're trying to find a fight. I saw your name thrown out there recently. Vicente Luque was the guy that's saying, like, he'd like to fight. What is that? Does that make sense to you? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I guess, I mean, ranked number 9 right now. I got pushed back to number 9. So it's like, I want to get back up in that top 5 again. So that's why the RDA fight was so appealing to me. I want to get back up there again. And I know Vicente Luque, I don't know if he's ranked yet. I think he's in the top 14 and 15 or something like that. So it wasn't that appealing to me. But if the RDA thing doesn't happen, that's definitely a possibility. And he's a great fighter. He got a great performance against Mike Perry. So, hey man, anybody in this game, no matter if you're ranked or not, are scary dudes, man. So I gotta be prepared whoever I fight next.
The time off that you took, I mean, has there been any realizations or evolution? I mean, was it just time away, or did you come to any new conclusions during this rest about like where you stand or where you're going, that sort of thing?
You know what? Not really. It was more for, you know, the healing of my mind, you know, mentally, but also physically, just trying to get everything back in order again. You know, letting the body heal up. I mean, I've been fighting since I was 15 years old. So I had some, you know, a little bit of agging, you know, injuries that I've had and that I've been kind of dealing with, especially with my knees and my thumbs. They still irritating me from time to time, but everything's feeling great. So just giving that time off, making sure everything's healed up 100%. So when I get back into training, man, I'm all in.
What about, because I was kind of wondering about this. I mean, as you said, you've been competing like your whole life, right? You're not used to losing either. You know what I mean? It's like you've been a winner your whole life. So I wondered, like, you know, the losses. Did it do anything as far as like your passion or your love? Did you find yourself going like, man, maybe this is done?
You know what? Not at all. It actually has lit a fire in me, like that winning doesn't do. You know, I know that I'm better than than my last fight, and I was beating Anthony Pettis. That's just the thing. That's what makes this game so crazy, and why I respect it so much, because I was whooping his butt. First round, you know, I had him bleeding. I had his timing down, and then I remember standing up off the stool at the first round and say, "Hey, I'm gonna be a little more aggressive," and I don't remember a dang thing after that. And it was like 5 seconds before the bell rang, so I went a whole second round. Don't remember any of it. I had to go back and watch it actually, and I just tells you, man, that, you know, anything can happen in that octagon. So, yeah, man, I know I'm better, and I'm still getting better every day. Even though my last few fights have been losses, the Darren Till, that was controversial. I thought I had it, but anyway, my last, and to be honest with you, that last fight, I felt like that was the only fight that I've actually lost that I actually lost. You know, my other fights, even with you know, Tyron Woodley, Darren Till, I felt like I had those fights. So this was the first time like I felt that I really lost the fight. And so, man, I'm ready to step back out there. Like it has lit a fire in me, man. I'm ready to throw down. I don't even know what to say right now. All right.
Not to focus on negative, I'm kind of curious about this. What was it like watching that fight? Like watching the moments that you have absolutely no recollection of? Can you explain what that's like watching something that you're like, I don't
remember this at all.
Yeah.
Well, especially when it came to me getting actually knocked out. Like, after the fight the next day, I'm like, why did this happen? I'm thinking to myself, I normally see this stuff. I see everything out there. I've never been knocked out, so why did this happen? So I remember the first thing I did when I got home, I actually fast forwarded to the ending part. I even watched the first and second round, right to the very end. And I'm like, oh, okay. Being out of position for a split second it determines whether you're gonna win the fight or lose the fight, and that's what happened. I was out of position, and I moved the wrong direction. Instead of moving one way, I ended up backing up and squared. So when I threw the side kick, it actually glanced off and it squared me up. I'm never square when I'm fighting. I'm normally sideways. So when I squared up, I couldn't move back fast enough, and out I went.
Real.
But it's a learning experience,
Yeah.
right? So that's how I look at it, man. So we know what not to do. And it's funny because when I do mitt work with my dad now, occasionally he'll throw like a Superman punch out of nowhere. I'm like, that's happened once. It's not going to happen again, Pops. Come on.
That's awesome. So we know Madison Square Garden is the goal. Is there a deadline? I mean, is there a date where like I gotta know by here, or do you just prepare all the way up to November 2nd, see what happens? I mean,
that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm always in training. When I take time off, it means taking time off of you know, the really, really hard training. I'm always working on skill. We got guys that had fights coming up all summer. You know, they're there to help me get ready, so I'm there to help them get ready. So I'm going through training camp with them. But just knowing that I can take this training session off if I want to. My thumbs are irritating me, I can just back off a little bit instead of having to actually go do that at training session. So to me, that's like vacation. You know, I'm constantly training. So I'm in pretty good shape right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna fight, get in training camp as soon as I get back home, and keep my fingers crossed. So if it's a week before the fight, I'll be ready.
Nice. Give me an idea what the goal is when you get in there. I mean, is there an idea that you got to prove something to the world? Is there an idea that you got to prove something to yourself? I mean, we don't know who the opponent is yet, so that'll change things a little bit. But as far as the stakes for you,
right?
What are the stakes for you in that one?
You know, that's a good question because, you know, obviously you have a game plan for whoever you fight. But for me, it's not to show the world anything. It's to show myself that I know I'm better than how I've been performing. Yes, everybody keeps telling me, you're 36 years old. You're 36 years old. You're slowing down. I'm not slowing down. I'm actually getting faster. Like I see it in my training. My sparring partners see it in training. So it's to prove to myself that I'm better. That I can still keep this thing going. You know what I'm saying? I know it's kind of hard to explain because a lot of people out there, you know, have never been in my situation, but and maybe you have. So maybe you do know. But it's to prove to myself, more than anything.